What's going on, guys, and welcome to episode 252 of Hashtag AskGSM here today for September 26, 2018. I am Graham GSM Matthews. Hope you guys are doing well. And just like that, the month of September is almost over, which is pretty fucking crazy to think about. I thought it was August a day ago, and now it's already almost October, which is pretty insane. The year of 2018 is quickly coming to a close. So again, guys, thank you for your support of the show. I appreciate it. As always, if you want to send in a question to the show, you can tweet me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant with the hashtag AskGSM. Find me on Facebook at facebook.com/graham.gsm.matthews. Leave a comment on the post I usually put up on Tuesday nights, if not on the wall itself, which is exactly what Andre G did this week. He said he had questions that he didn't want me to forget, so he put them up on Sunday or Saturday or whatever of last week on the wall itself. So if you have questions and you don't want to wait for the Facebook people, if you don't want to wait until Tuesday for me to put up the post, you can write them on the wall and I'll include them. I'll be sure to include them in the next week's edition. So there's that. There's Twitter. There's also YouTube. Drop your question down below in the comment section on this very video. I'll include your question in next week's edition. So with all that being said, let's get started here first with Brandon A. from YouTube. First question being top 3 matches of the week. So I'm going to include 2 matches from last week. So the way that we worked this in the past with Brandon is that it includes any matches from the last week. So like NXT Tonight and 205 Live have yet to air tonight as I record this. So I'm going to include the 2 matches from 205 Live and NXT from last week that I thought were amazing. That being Cedric Alexander and Drew Gulak for the Cruiserweight Championship on 205 Live. Tremendous match. And even better than that, for the NXT North American Championship and the WWE United Kingdom Championship, Pete Dunne versus Ricochet. One of the best NXT TV matches I've ever seen. Easily the best TV match I've seen all year in WWE. I know the finish was predictable, the Undisputed Era got involved, whatever. The match itself was still absolutely fucking fantastic. So you can't discount that at all. The match itself was absolutely amazing, disregarding the finish. And even with the finish, it made sense. It wasn't out of nowhere. It wasn't stupid. It made sense from a storyline standpoint. So those 2 matches, and I'll include 1 match from this past week that I've seen so far. Nothing on SmackDown really stood out to me. Like I said, 205 Live, NXT have yet to air tonight. And I usually do include like 1 Impact match or a Ring of Honor match. There were a couple good Ring of Honor matches on TV this week, but none of them really stood out as being like overly amazing. But I will include the Raw Tag Team Championship match from Monday's Raw. Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre versus The Revival. I thought that was a great match, and better than it really had any right to be. Now, I know all 4 guys are great, but it is 2 heel tag teams, and The Revival really have not meant much on the main roster at all. So for them to go out there, have an amazing match, that I had read that won over Vince McMahon, who was apparently a big fan of that match, that's speaking volumes if true. So I got to give props to that match. Revival, Ziggler, McIntyre, tremendous stuff there. Tag team wrestling at its finest. So again, my top 3 matches of the week of the past 7 days include Ziggler and McIntyre versus The Revival, Cedric Alexander versus Drew Gulak from 205 Live, and Ricochet versus Pete Dunne from NXT last Wednesday. His second question: there is a guy with a YouTube called Denkops, and he does Celebrity Royal Rumble simulations with the WWE 2K games with commentary. They are pretty hilarious, and it's actually pretty fun to watch. The celebrities include real people and fictional characters. You don't have to name 30 participants, but who do you think would be fun to see in an all-celebrity Royal Rumble? I must have seen this at some point. My roommate in college, loved that shit, loved those type of YouTube videos, and he wasn't a big wrestling fan at all, but he would show me those videos featuring Ronald McDonald and all this other dumb shit, and I would watch them, and they were pretty funny. So I'm sure that's what I have seen before. I really have no interest in playing that, or what celebrities would I want to see involved. I don't know. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head. I don't really care about real people being involved unless it's a funny meme or something. I would much rather see fictional characters involved. Like I said, Ronald McDonald, dumb stuff like that. My brother used to download the Cause, the creator wrestlers from the online community store that people would create that were absolutely ridiculous, like fucking Big Bird and shit like that. Like, that to me is funny. So if that's what the match would consist of, that's what I would like to watch. Or see, like, someone make a Kevin Spacey and beat the fucking shit out of him in the middle of the ring. Or Bill Cosby, too. You know, something like that I think would be funny. Beyond that, though, I mean, I really don't have any names off the top of my head that I would want to see involved in a Celebrity Royal Rumble. I'm more into the fictional shit, because I think that would be funnier. His third question: I wasn't really watching wrestling in the Ruthless Aggression era. I've heard of the scramble matches that they used to do, but I haven't seen one. How do these work? Well, there wasn't really the Ruthless Aggression era. Those debuted back in 2008. I would say the Ruthless Aggression era ended in like 2005, 2006, if not 07. The scramble matches came about in 2008. It was created in storyline by Mike Adamle, of all people, when he was the Raw GM back in September of 2008. 10 years ago. It's funny that you mentioned these matches now. They were created about a decade ago for the 2008 Unforgiven pay-per-view. And the way these matches would work, you would have two people start out in the ring. Every 5 minutes, a new man would enter until all 5 people are included in the match. Now, it doesn't matter. All 5 people do not have to be in the match. But if you pin someone, if you get a pinfall victory over someone, whether it's just 2 people in the ring, 3, 4, all 5, that person is the interim WWE champion or the interim winner of the match, whatever. Now, the thing with the match, obviously, if, you know, like the Brian Kendrick at one point, I think pinned like fucking Jeff Hardy in the WWE Championship Scramble match 10 years ago. The Brian Kendrick is not recognized as the WWE champion. You're not included, you're not, recognized as the official champion until the match is over. And then the last person, it's not the most amount of falls, it's the last person to get a pinfall or submission victory becomes the official champion. Like I said, they did 3 of these at Unforgiven, which was a bit of a fucking, overkill. They did 3 in the same night with the WWE World Heavyweight and ECW Championships. Some were better than others. It wasn't a terrible concept. It was kind of confusing a little bit. It was nothing too exciting, but they did quickly do away with it, probably because they realized, oh shit, it didn't lead to more pay-per-view buys. They did it one other time at the Bash 2009 with the ECW Championship, only about 6-7 months later, about a year later, and that was it. We never saw it again. And I think it was included in the video games for a little while, too. I remember playing scramble matches in the WWE, like SmackDown vs. Raw games, at least for a year or two, so they were in the games, which was pretty cool, but they never brought them back in real life after that. I'm not really sure why. I didn't hate the match. I thought it was okay. It was kind of confusing, mind you. But I don't know. I liked that Unforgiven 2008 pay-per-view. I thought all 3 scramble matches were exciting to an extent. They had good talent involved. I mean, after a while, it might get old. But still, it was something new. And they don't really try new things in WWE anymore. They kind of resort to the same old shit. So for them to try out something new, I thought was refreshing, but we haven't seen one in a while. So that's how the scramble matches work. If you want to check one out, watch Unforgiven 2008 or The Bash 2009. His next question: this would never happen, but how would you feel about seeing a Bullet Club Elite versus a Bullet Club OG match, including former Bullet Club members? I propose this 8-on-8 tag team match with Kenny Omega, Cody, Hangman Page, Marty Scurll, the Young Bucks, Chase Owens, and the Tokyo Pimp, Yuro Takahashi on one side, and then the Guerrillas of Destiny, Bad Luck Fale, Taiji Ishimori, AJ Styles, Finn Balor, Carl Anderson, and Doc Gallows on the other. If you want, you can throw in Ibushi on the Elite side and Adam Cole to the OG side. Would you be interested in this as a big money match? I would. I mean, obviously that's a lot of talent involved in one match. A 16-man tag team match sounds like a fucking disaster, but with that much talent involved, it could be a lot of fun, and I'm sure Japan would do right by it. If it was to take place in Japan, obviously, it wouldn't be like a WWE or something. It'd be a fucking mess. But if they did it in New Japan, I mean, obviously it would never happen, because like you said, you're not going to get all that talent in the same place at the same time. A lot of those people, obviously including AJ and Balor, Anderson and Gallows, Cole, they've all since moved on to WWE and NXT and whatnot. I didn't know Taiji Ishimori, you said he would be on the OG side. I thought he just joined the group like fucking 6 months ago. I might be mistaken. I'm pretty sure he joined like in 2018. So I'm not really sure why you would include him in the... I mean, you probably know. You definitely know more about Bullet Club than I do. But I thought Ishimori just joined like this year. So I understand the Gorillas of Destiny, Bad Luck Fale, Styles, Balor, Anderson, Gallows. I get all that. But I'm just kind of surprised that you would include Ishimori. Unless he left and then rejoined the group. But I could have sworn that Ishimori only joined in 2018 after he left Impact before coming back. Anyway, but yeah, I would love to see that if possible. Obviously, it likely never will be, but that would be an amazing match because that's a lot of talent in one match, and it would be a great way to kind of, it's like the whole NWO black and white versus NWO red, like Wolfpack, but just done right with more talent and a better match, and it just made sense. And it's not, Bullet Club is at a point now where it's not being driven into the ground. NWO, for as big of an impact as they made on the industry, they died a death within a year and a half. The group got old very, very quick with all the beatdowns and all that other dumb shit. Just kind of taking over WCW because they never got their comeuppance more often than not. Bullet Club now has been running for over 5 fucking years. And they're still as exciting and as fresh as ever. Because they always kind of, restock the pot with new people. And the matches are always amazing. And just the storylines, the storytelling has been great. So, again, I don't think Bullet Club gets enough credit as they deserve. I know it's like, the indie thing, you're a Bullet Club mark, whatever. Yeah, I get that, whatever. But I'm just talking about from a pure booking standpoint. That no group, I believe, has ever been able to accomplish what these guys have with different members, maybe like the Four Horsemen, but like over the course of 5 years, consistently, never once breaking up. It wasn't like it's a reunion tour now, like the Shield or something. Like, no, these guys have been together from the get-go, from May of 2013. The group as a whole, not every individual member. So that itself should be recognized and appreciated and commended on New Japan's side for being able to keep it together for this long and still being able to be one of the hottest acts in all of wrestling, because that's kind of unheard of this day and age. Andre G from Facebook, who would you pick to win this Elimination Chamber match? John Cena, Prime Sting, Prime Taz, AJ Styles, Prince Puma, and Shinsuke Nakamura. Talk about a bunch of misfits here. This is a real mesh of talent, and I like it. The match itself would be amazing with all 6 of those guys. I'm going to have to say Cena, not because I'm obviously the biggest Cena fan, but Cena has more experience in chamber matches than pretty much anybody. Puma, obviously, has never been in one. I don't know why you said Puma, not Ricochet. That's a little weird, but Sting has never been in the chamber. Taz has never been in the chamber. AJ was in 1 last year. Nakamura's never been in the chamber. Cena's been in like fucking 5. And has won almost every single one of those. So Cena is easily winning that thing. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Even though the other talent might be better, John Cena has experience on his side and is always proven to prevail even when the odds are stacked against him. So I've got Cena as the victor in that thing. What are your thoughts on King Cuerno, and could you see him coming to NXT? I like King Cuerno. He's not my favorite competitor in Lucha Underground, but I like him in Lucha. He's a real good wrestler. I like the whole, the kind of Texan gimmick with the cowboy hat. It's not El Tejano. He's a little, I don't know. I'm kind of bored by El Tejano. He really doesn't do much for me. But King Cuerno is very, very good. He had a good match with Pentagon last week on Lucha, along with Mil Muertes, that 3-way for the Lucha Underground Championship. I don't think he'd ever come to NXT. I mean, I guess he could. I think he might be a bit more likely than like Pentagon. The only real reason they would send Pentagon and Phoenix, more so Pentagon. I could see Phoenix getting over in like a Kalisto, Rey Mysterio type way. Pentagon, I love Pentagon, but he's a rare case of a guy that I don't want to see in WWE, just because I don't think he'd be a good fit for it at all. And the only real reason they would want to sign him is because he has buzz around him, not because they have any real plans for him, just because they want to take him away from MLW and New Japan and Lucha and Impact and all these other companies. So, King Cuerno, on the other hand, I mean, he could be a good fit for NXT if they kept the mask on him. I'm not sure that they would. I mean, they took the mask off of fucking Del Rio and Andrade, and in their case, it worked because they were just good-looking guys in general, and they had that star aura about them. I don't know that King Cuerno has that star aura about him without the mask on. And with the mask on, I really don't see him. I really don't see them fleshing out an interesting enough character for him to be like worthy of being brought in. Like, he works in the Lucha universe, but his character, I mean, he has a good character, but it's not exciting enough to the point where I could see it working elsewhere. So I'm gonna say no to that. I don't see him coming to NXT, and I don't think he should come to NXT or WWE, whatever. I think he should stay right where he is, working with Lucha, Impact, AAA, all those other companies. Mark S. from Facebook. What has been your feeling about the two new managers on Raw, Drake Maverick and Lio Rush? I mean, I've talked about this a few different times in the last couple of weeks, but Lio Rush, I'm really liking the pairing with Bobby Lashley. Granted, it would be better if they were heels, but nonetheless, I think the pairing is a step in the right direction for both guys. I mean, I think Lio Rush would have been a star no matter what, because the guy is not only proven to be a great wrestler with his time on the indie scene and NXT and on 205 Live, but also a tremendous talker as well. The guy has really gotten over as a great, great talker on 205 Live. So to bring that to a bigger stage on Raw where people can kind of get familiar with him, I think is awesome. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing where they go with that. I mean, again, it would be better if they were heels. Bobby Lashley works as a heel. Rush as a heel mouthpiece for Lashley, I think, would be awesome. But for right now, it's better than nothing for both those guys. Drake Maverick, I'm kind of warming up to the idea of him as the mouthpiece for AOP. I mean, they need more dominating victories against established tag teams. But other than that, I think, it's a step in the right direction because they weren't doing anything before. They were involved in that just completely throwaway feud with Titus Worldwide. And Drake Maverick is kind of tucked away on 205 Live, which is a great role for him as the GM of that show. The DM, the GM, as he's been called of 205 Live. The general manager, Drake Maverick. But, I think he can also kind of get his talents over on a bigger stage, that being Raw, and being the talker for AOP. It's not a perfect pairing. It's not a match made in heaven, like, oh my God, why didn't I think of this? But, because it's kind of a mismatch with the size and stuff. But still, I think because I think Paul Ellering would have been a better fit, as he always was in NXT. That notwithstanding, I think Drake Maverick being on Raw is a plus, and AOP finally getting some momentum is also a plus. So again, both pairings I like with Drake Maverick and Lio Rush with AOP and Bobby Lashley respectively. Mark's second question. Even though John Cena and Bobby Lashley have just been put together for WWE Super Showdown in Australia, is there any chance they might stay together and enter the Raw tag team ranks? No chance in hell. Bobby's busy doing his own thing with Lio Rush. Cena, I don't think there's any plans for him to be back anytime soon in a full-time recurring role on Raw or SmackDown. He's just being brought in to do this one show to kind of, bring people into the arena. It's an attraction, which is why he did the Greatest Royal Rumble, and that's why he's doing Super Showdown too. And they had no other role for him because Triple H and Undertaker kind of have the attraction match on the show. So they just kind of throw him into a fucking random-ass house show style tag team match with Bobby Lashley, Elias, and Kevin Owens. So, no, Cena and Lashley do not need to be a tag team. I think Raw needs more tag teams, more compelling tag teams. I'm not sure Cena and Lashley would be it. Because, Lashley already has his thing going on with Lio Rush. Maybe if you asked me a couple weeks ago before he joined up with Lio Rush, I would have said maybe. Just because it's something different, I get, but we got to see if they work well together in Australia first. But Lashley should be doing his own thing right now with Lio Rush, and Cena can go back to doing fucking Daddy's Home 5 or whatever. His next question, what would you have thought of making the Cedric Alexander versus Buddy Murphy match at Super Showdown an Iron Man match, or would you prefer the standard match? Yeah, I think it'd be cool if it was an Iron Man match. I mean, they have the history. It's not like it's a random match, because they have that feud from a few months ago, and they had that great match in 205 Live. I mean, the standard match will be great too. An Iron Man match would be exciting. I feel like we've seen a lot of Iron Man matches in the last year or two between Banks and Bayley, Banks and Charlotte, the Hardy Boys in the Bar. We had Ziggler and Rollins. They're doing it a little more often than I would like. They're doing it once a year now. So they're doing it once a year, which I'm not really a fan of. So I'm going to say no to the Iron Man match idea, but the regular match alone should be great. Daniel K. from Facebook. Does Dean Ambrose turn heel and turn on the Shield? I think eventually he does. I think what they teased on Raw was just to make you think that, he's going to turn on them at Super Showdown. It's way too soon for that. Way too soon. I know I read a rumor before I started recording from, I think, PW Insider or Dave Meltzer, whatever, saying that I think the original plan for Ambrose before he got hurt last year was for him to turn heel, which I think is the plan this time around, too. Obviously, they're kind of laying it out a little thick right now just because they want to build intrigue in the six-man tag team match, which otherwise means nothing So I could see why they're doing that. I never once bought into the possibility on Raw this week that Ambrose is going to turn on Rollins and Reigns. Like, give me a break. They just reunited like a fucking month ago. So that's obviously not happening, nor should it happen right now. Down the road, yes, it should. Maybe around WrestleMania season, a little before that, a little after that. But for right now, no. Down the road, yes. FD from Facebook, his first question was, do you agree that September has been the month of betrayals, with the number of betrayals that have happened in a lot of the major wrestling companies this month alone? The latest being Kazuchika, Okada's longtime pal and New Japan booker, Gato turning on Okada and aligning with Switchblade Jay White during the recent Destruction show a few days ago. Yeah, there's always betrayals happening in wrestling, so this is really nothing new. But I did hear about that. That's a pretty big news story, because Okada and Gato have been kind of joined at the hip now for many years. So that was a big turn. But Okada, I'm sure, can talk for himself. He doesn't really need Gato, but still, I mean, it's kind of like the Bobby Lashley, the fucking Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman of New Japan is that pairing, and they kind of broke them up. So I'm sure they'll reunite down the road. And Okada doesn't really need Gato anymore now that he's no longer the IWGP champion. He doesn't really need them to talk for him anymore. It's fine. But yeah, it was an interesting twist. So I don't know where it's going to go next. I don't really follow New Japan, obviously. But yeah, that was likely the biggest betrayal in the last month alone. It had to have been Gato turning on Okada, just because they've been such good friends in storyline now for many, many years. His second question, what if at WWE Super Showdown, Daniel Bryan beats The Miz to become the new number one contender to the WWE Championship? And then Samoa Joe beats AJ Styles to become the new aforementioned champion, and we will have ourselves a classic Ring of Honor throwback match at the next pay-per-view after Super Showdown, reminiscing on their awesome rivalry they had at Ring of Honor before. Do you think this match is possible for the next pay-per-view after Super Showdown? And if it does happen, do you see this match competing in quality with their classic matches at ROH? So yeah, there's a couple different ways they can go with this with Bryan and Miz and AJ and Joe. I am leaning on Bryan winning and AJ retaining, and then them doing Bryan and AJ not at the next pay-per-view, because the next pay-per-view would be Crown Jewel. Technically, it would be Survivor Series, but Crown Jewel is their next big special that they're promoting. So, I mean, Evolution is, but obviously that's an all-women's pay-per-view, so they're not going to fight there. But we do have SmackDown 1000 coming up in a few weeks, which I'm kind of pissed off they haven't really made a bigger deal about. They've barely mentioned it on TV at all. It's coming up in like 2 or 3 weeks. They're way too focused on Super Showdown and Crown Jewel and Evolution. SmackDown 1000 is getting lost in all of this, which is really upsetting. But yeah, I could see them promoting Bryan and AJ for the SmackDown 1000 show. Bryan and Joe would be great. I don't see that being too likely. I don't think Joe's winning the championship. I think he should. I don't think he will. I think if he was going to win it, he would have won it at Hell in a Cell, if not at SummerSlam. So I'm leaning towards they're not doing the title change. So I don't think they will, but I think a full-fledged Bryan-Joe match at some point, full-fledged Bryan-Joe feud on SmackDown is something that needs to happen. I'm not sure if their matches will be as good as the Ring of Honor matches, because, come on, that was fucking 13, 15 years ago. It was a long time ago, and both guys are not what they used to be. Bryan is still great. Joe's still very good. They're not in the same physical shape, whatever, that they were 15 years ago. And WWE, even if they were, WWE, I'm not sure would allow them to go out there and have the match they did at Ring of Honor. It's like AJ Nakamura. I mean, their last match in Japan was fucking only 2.5, 3 years ago. But they were only really allowed to go at a certain pace and have as good of a match as WWE wanted them to. Even though we know they can do better, their matches in WWE, while great, were not the amazing, epic spectacle that we had first seen in New Japan 3 years ago. So with Joe and AJ, or Joe and Bryan, I'm sure they'll have great matches, but I doubt they'll be on the same level as those Ring of Honor matches, which are widely regarded as some of the greatest in that company's history. At Reborn Again from Twitter, I get that accidents happen, but wasn't Brie Bella's massive botch on Raw finally enough to keep her out of the ring for good? I would hope so. I mean, I don't think she'll be taken out of the ring for good, because she's still going to be in that 6-woman tag team match at Super Showdown. She'll probably have a match at Evolution coming up next month. She sucks. I mean, we kind of figured that out when she came back to the ring a few weeks ago against the Riot Squad, and she did that. She botched the fucking suicide dive twice. And again, that can be chalked up to ring rust, but they're just not that good. Nikki Bella is much better than Brie Bella. She always has been, and she always will be. Brie Bella, again, it's one of those things like maybe she's just kind of getting back into the swing of things. Well, you know what? If that's the case, then don't put her on TV. Have her train to the PC, wrestle some house show matches. Don't put her on fucking pay-per-view and on TV. If she's not ready for it, because she I believe she legitimately hurt Liv Morgan and concussing her, and she's being evaluated for it. Liv Morgan, that is, of course. So that is just inexcusable. And I know it was an accident. I realize it was an accident. But to fucking have the wherewithal to, first of all, kick someone in the face once, which was all Brie's fault, not Liv Morgan's fault. Don't even pretend that it's Liv Morgan's fault, anyone. I've seen some people like, oh, she ducked her head. Like, no. She's fucking taking the move, and Brie Bella fucked up. Again, accidents happen. Then she kicked her again. Again, not realizing that, okay, after kicking her in the face the first time, you would think that she would stop and be like, oh, shit. No, she kicked her fucking again. She kept on just going and going and going because she didn't even either realize it or was just had that adrenaline rush. I don't know. Because Liv Morgan, she like kind of fell over, and that's why she got kicked the second time. Because Brie Bella, her accuracy was right the second time, but Liv Morgan fell over because she was fucking unconscious. And you would think that Brie Bella would have realized that, or I don't know, I felt that she kicked her in the face by accident, and I'm not sure, or just, I don't know, I'm not exactly sure what else she could have done in that situation, but it was pretty bad. Then proceed to drag her across the ring, like by her head, like, oh my god. Who the fuck does that? She's been wrestling for what, 10 years now? That's embarrassing. So I'm hoping that they get Brie Bella either, if she's not out of the ring completely, just kind of tone it down. Don't put her in the ring every week like they have been in recent weeks, because she's fucking terrible. Brie Bella sucks. She sucks. Nikki Bella's okay. Like I said a couple weeks ago, I thought she had a couple very good matches during her last SmackDown run in 2016-2017 with Carmella and Natalya and a few others. She's not she's not hurting people the same way that Brie Bella is currently, so, and herself. So yeah, Brie Bella kind of sort of sucks, and I would hope that if they don't take her out of the ring for good, that they kind of tone down her in-ring presence, because there is no need for her to be in the ring at all, but at the very least right now, until she gets kind of back into the swing of things, and she's not hurting his people or herself as often as she has been since coming back to the ring a couple weeks ago. His second question, who would be your choice to take the Universal Championship from Roman Reigns? I know I said this when Roman first won the championship, and my answer really hasn't changed. I'm not really sure. Rollins would be a great choice, just because Rollins should be back on top as the world champion at some point. It's been far too long. Ambrose would be another good choice. Ambrose going heel, then beating Roman for the championship would be great. Beyond those two, who else? Strowman, I don't think is winning the championship. He's just a bad case of bad timing. Because with him, he could have won the championship at any point in the last year, but they wanted the belt on Brock, and they wanted the belt on Roman Reigns. It's not that he wasn't worthy or couldn't have a run as champion. It's just that the timing was terrible, and I don't see him winning it anytime soon. So, not Braun Strowman. I guess maybe McIntyre, but I don't see McIntyre becoming Universal. I mean, I guess he could, but I don't see him becoming Universal Champion anytime soon. Ziggler, no thanks. Kevin Owens, I like Kevin Owens, but I don't see him being the one to take the belt from Roman. We've been there, done that with KO and Roman over the Universal Championship. So, not that match. I don't know who else it would be. Jinder, no. Elias, no. Brock, thank God, I would hopefully not. And that's really about it. I mean, I'm sure there's a few people I'm not thinking of. Finn Balor, I mean, kind of already got a shot and lost, so it won't be Balor. I don't know, I'll say Ambrose. Like I said, I could see Ambrose going heel and taking that belt from Roman and kind of kicking off a feud between those two, either going into WrestleMania or coming out of WrestleMania, because no one else on the Raw roster really makes sense at the moment. His next question, do you think that NXT as a brand will reach its peak anytime soon, or has it already, and is it's just on a high plateau before the eventual downfall? A good question. I don't think it's reached its peak at all. It's not like it peaked and it's all downhill from here. I think people thought that back in 2015, like, oh, it won't get better than this. And yeah, for a time it was like that. Like, okay, it was at its golden years in 2014, 2015. You know, a lot of people say that, like, oh, NXT will never be better than it was in 2014, 2015. I disagree. I think NXT is as good as it's ever been right fucking now. You go back to 2014, 2015, dude, you watch episodes from that time period, NXT was great, but we had fucking Titus O'Neil facing Neville for the NXT Championship. Brodus Clay We had fucking, oh my God. The Ascension as tag team champions, give me a break. I think the tag team division is way better now. The women's division, I guess you can argue the women's division will never be as good as it was when Bayley, Banks, Lynch, and Charlotte were there. I agree with that. But with the main event level talent between EC3, Adam Cole, Velveteen Dream, Aleister Black, Ricochet, and all the others being there currently, and everyone else they brought in between Keith Lee, Matt Riddle, and everyone else, like, it can't be topped at the moment. It really can't be. So I don't think it's peaked. I think they'll continue to find ways to either make new stars, bring in new people that have buzz, that can be top stars for NXT and beyond. So no, I don't think it's peaked. I'm loving NXT right now. I think if we just worry about, oh, it's so good right now, when is it going to get worse? Like, if you just keep on worrying about that, you're not going to enjoy the moment. You're not going to enjoy for how good it is currently. So I wouldn't even really worry about that. But to answer your question in a nutshell, I don't think it's peaked. I think it's really just, I don't want to say scratching the surface. I feel like that's a bit of a cliche, just because I think, NXT really is at its best right now. But it could always be better. It can always be better. So, no, I don't think it's peaked, and I think it will continue to kill it for as long as Triple H is in charge of it. And it will have its down periods, like when we had like Joe and Nakamura feuding over the championship. At that point, NXT was like desolate because they took so much talent from the draft. But now that they've kind of replenished the pot with new people and kind of building up new stars, it's absolutely must-see TV every week. Maybe not NXT TV, but the takeovers are for sure. At HardyDX fan from Twitter's got 3 questions here. First one being, seeing as Finn Balor is currently being booked so poorly, how would you book Balor? Well, I think a feud with Kevin Owens would be a step in the right direction. I would move him to SmackDown at this point. Maybe not right now. I'm not really a fan of moving people, having them switch shows midway through the year. I would wait until the Superstar Shakeup or the draft or whatever the fuck they're calling it. So Balor might be a better fit on SmackDown, get some more World Championship opportunities over there. I mean, Joe went for the World title a few times on Raw, but he has a better chance of winning it on SmackDown and going for the championship like he is right now than he ever would on Raw, So Balor on SmackDown should happen come 2019. In the meantime, like I said, a feud with KO would be cool. They haven't feuded since 2015. Corbin, been there, done that. Jinder, God, I would hope not. Who cares? Elias, I guess that could be something. I mean, again, been there, done that on the main roster. So I don't really know. I mean, there's a big gap right now between the Shield and Strowman, Ziggler, and McIntyre than everyone else on the roster. Everyone else feels like they're doing nothing right now. So I would have him feud with Owens. If not, I don't know. I don't know what else you do with him. Like the Intercontinental Championship stuff would be great, but it's currently tied up with Rollins right now. So I don't know. I'm not sure. Turning him heel would be interesting, but he's still pretty popular, and they have enough heels, and they should turn Bobby Roode heel and Bobby Lashley heel before they turn Finn Balor. So yeah, a feud with Kevin Owens would be fine in the meantime. I think Kevin Owens Finn Balor feud might be better than whatever we're getting right now between Bobby Lashley and Kevin Owens. His second question, what are your top 3 feuds that failed to meet expectations? Good question. I don't know if they're my top 3. There's so many, obviously, with WWE, but I'm just going to say 3 that that immediately came to my head when I read your question. You said Styles Nakamura being an example. I agree with that. I still really enjoyed the feud, so that wouldn't be my top 3 because I thought the matches were still really good. They weren't as great as I thought they could have been. No match in WWE was better than the one they had at Wrestle Kingdom 9 or 10 a few years ago. I agree with that. Wrestle Kingdom 10. But the feud was still good, and I thought the matches were really good. Beyond that one, Styles and Owens, I'll say, was disappointing. I thought they had, again, a couple good matches. A lot of them were marred by bad booking and just dumbass finishes and shenanigans and interference from Shane McMahon and Baron Corbin and all this other dumb stuff. So, yeah, Styles and Owens I thought would be better than it was. It kind of felt like it dragged on for a long time, and their matches weren't nearly as good as they were when they first faced off in WWE back in early 2016. Like I said, their Backlash match that was really good, but the issue with that was just that, I don't know, I just think that they were never really allowed to go all out. And when they did, it always ended with a fluky finish. So Styles and Owens failed to meet expectations in recent years. Ambrose and Wyatt from 2014 was definitely disappointing. I can't remember one great match they had. The ambulance match, the TLC match, they were all good. But again, a lot of fluky finishes. Ambrose never fucking won. The guy was booked like a loser. And the only reason they did that was to build up Wyatt just so he can lose to Taker at WrestleMania. So that was a disappointment. And the promos were nothing special either, like I thought they would be. And AJ Lee and Paige from that same year was pretty disappointing. It kicked off on a high note when Paige got called up to the main roster, beat AJ for the belt, and then nothing. AJ left for a few months. And then AJ came back, won the championship from Paige in like June. And then they did the double turn, which was good. And they had a few good matches, but they were all like 4 or 5 minutes long. Like none of them were ever really as good as they could have been when we imagined like an AJ Lee Paige feud. And it felt like, again, like it dragged on for fucking 5-6 months. And it did the division no favors. The division was still in shambles at that point. The women's, divas division, whatever. No one cared still. And this feud did nothing to change that. So I thought that was a definite disappointment as well. Final question from Matt Hardy, the X-Fan, for today. Is there any former NXT call-ups that'll benefit from going back to NXT? A few come to mind. I think I might have mentioned them. I feel like Jeremy might have... who also asked the question. Sorry, Jeremy, I saw your question. I forgot to include it in the document. I'm going to go back in a second. So that's actually not it for the questions today. Jeremy, I'm going to answer his questions last. He sent them in from Facebook. But, yeah, so I think you might have asked me about this a while ago. But a few weeks ago, Tyler Breeze and Luke Harper, whose partners are both currently hurt, they went back to NXT for a few house shows not too long ago. So, I mean, them going back to NXT would be cool. Tyler Breeze, that was when he really got over. That was where he really got over as a star, was in NXT. I mean, they're kind of stockpiled with talent right now and star power, but, I mean, it's worth the shot. It's better than him doing nothing. So, yeah, Breeze in NXT would be cool. Luke Harper is not doing anything right now on SmackDown. Put him in NXT. It would be pretty cool. Dana Brooke, I feel like she needs more NXT more than NXT needs her. And, I mean, none of these people NXT really needs. They really need NXT more than NXT needs them. But, like, Brooke needs it from an experience standpoint. Now, she's gotten better. She still sucks. She's still absolutely terrible. So, again, I would put Brooke back down there maybe just to improve. And she really serves no purpose on Raw anyway. So, why not just put her back on the fucking developmental brand? Mike Kanellis was never in NXT, mind you. I just feel like he'd be a much better fit down there. He's not doing anything on Raw. He's never done anything on the main roster. Why would you bring him to the main roster immediately without having him go to NXT first if you had no plans for him? Like, that made no sense. I got the sense that Vince McMahon was never a fan of the gimmick to begin with. And it was Triple H who signed Mike Kanellis. So why wouldn't he just take him under his wing and put him on NXT first? Like, I thought that was a little weird. So yeah, I would put Mike Kanellis in NXT with Maria. And Chad Gable, too. I think we talked about Chad Gable going back to NXT. He's not doing anything. I mean, he's fucking facing the Ascension every single week. God forbid. But yeah, he'd be a nice little asset to NXT if he was called down to that show. Or called back up, because I think NXT, I think we can all agree, is the better show. Is the better brand. Yeah, Gable, Kanellis, Brooke, Harper, Breeze. I'm sure there's others. Those are the ones that come to mind. Apollo Crews is another one. He's not doing anything on Raw nowadays. He never should have been called up as soon as he was to begin with. And going back to NXT could help rectify that, because the guy's a great wrestler. And again, I apologize to Jeremy. I know I saw his questions on the Facebook post, and I didn't put them in the document, but I will include them here. His questions include, let's see, Jeremy's first question from Facebook. Do you think Orton will cost Bryan his match against Miz at Super Showdown? I don't think so. I mean, I think I would like that idea because it gives Miz a victory and kicks off an Orton-Bryan feud again for the first time in 5 years, and I would hope the matches are better this time. I'd be fine with that. I don't think he will, but I like the idea of an Orton-Bryan feud. It's better than Orton fucking Ty Dillinger. I like that as a one-off match, not as a full-fledged feud. So, again, I'm not banking on it, but I think that's a good way to give Miz another victory and give Bryan something to do if he's not involved in the WWE Championship picture. And Jeremy's second question, with Mysterio signing with WWE, do you think he will be the one to beat Nakamura for the United States Championship, becoming a Grand Slam champion, and hold the U.S. title till WrestleMania where he drops it to Almas? That's a great idea. I love that a lot. I heard the chances of Mysterio being a part of Crown Jewel are pretty likely, with the match with Nakamura being rumored. Nakamura ain't doing shit with that championship right now anyway. Might as well give it to Rey Mysterio. Why not? So, yeah, that's actually a really good idea. He can have some great feuds with a lot of the heels on that show, with The Miz and maybe, Jeff Hardy when he comes back. He's not a heel, but, like, just matches in general. With The Miz, he can face, maybe even Rusev. There's a few different people. Samoa Joe would be pretty cool. Rey Mysterio, Samoa Joe would be a lot of fun, I think. But yeah, I think Rey Mysterio Almas is the ultimate destination to get Almas over and give him that championship. So yeah, I like that idea a lot. a lot. So, yeah, hashtag book it. And that's going to do it, guys, for hashtag AskGSM here today. Thank you for sending in your questions, as always, to the show. If you want to send in a question to the show, you can tweet me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant with hashtag AskGSM. Find me on Facebook at facebook.com/gram.gsm.matthews. Leave a comment on the post. I usually put up on Tuesday nights, if not on the wall itself. And last but certainly not least, be sure to drop your question on this very video in the comment section down below. I'll be sure to include your question in next week's edition. So, with all that being said, guys, enjoy the rest of your week. I'll catch you guys next week in the first episode in the month of October. Again, the end of 2018 is quickly coming, is quickly approaching, and I can't even begin to fathom that 2018 is almost over. It's hard to believe. But anyway, guys, enjoy the rest of your week. I'm Graham GSM Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.